welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the first episode of the Vanguard Insider here on the Vanguard Athletics Podcast Network. My name is Jeff Melton, and we are going to give you guys a little bit of background about what Vanguard Athletics is and why we are so happy to be offering these podcasts to you guys every week. So, Vanguard University is located in Costa Mesa, California. The university was founded in 1920, so come January, we're officially going to launch off our centennial celebrations. We're all really excited about that. And, it's so great with our 17 sports being offered and just the success we have, not only on the playing surface, but also, in the community and things like that. So one of the things we're most proud of, on the field is we do have 2 team national championships. That was the 2008 women's basketball team, which won the first one in school history. And then in 2014, the men's basketball team reached the mountaintop as well. And on top of that, there's been 9 individuals who have won individual championships, all in track and field. So back in the 1974, Mike Singletary won a pair, Jim Feeney won, Jack Cossey, and then Don Turry won both in 1974 and 1975 for the shot put. And then there was about a 21-year hiatus before anyone else reached the mountaintop when Kevin Carlson did it in the high jump. And then we've actually been blessed in the last 2 years to have 2 individuals win it in Winston Lawson and Amanda Chan. So on top of that, the university has combined to win over 80 conference championships, whether that's the tournament or the regular season. Blessed to have, hundreds of All-Americans, over 600 All-GSAC athletes. But one of the things we're most proud of is the scholar success we've had. So, whether it's our about 110 NEI scholar teams, our nearly 500 NEI scholar athletes, those are really great. And then also as well as having 16 of our teams be recognized by the NEI for being teams of character, and that's really special because one team is chosen each year for the things they're doing off the field and off the court and in the community, and recognized for that. So that's something that we also around these parts like to quantify as national championships because it's only given out to one team across the country each year, just like those red banners the NEI provides. And then one of the things we're also really proud of is our Hall of Fame members here. We have 3 individuals who have worked at Vanguard who have been recognized by the NEI as a Hall of Fame coach, and that's Bob Wilson for his dual role as both a men's basketball coach within the NEI and as a administrator here as director of athletics for over 20 years here at Vanguard, as well as Russ Davis, our legendary women's basketball coach here, as he nears 600 wins. And then Matthias Johansson, he was a standout tennis player here at Vanguard and then went on to be the director of tennis here at Vanguard for many, many years, and always was pouring into kids from very diverse backgrounds all around the country. So that's a little bit about what Vanguard is, why we think it's special. We're here to work in the holistic growth and development of student athletes. Our aim is to teach them about Christ and to build Christ-centered lives, while encouraging, the high standards of academic and athletic excellence and how that all combines to build character. The instruction that our coaches pour into these student athletes on a daily basis is one aspect of how we're trying to get these student athletes to seek significance across their life and how that's going to launch them into a lifetime of service to Christ around the world. So we're so thrilled for our 360 athletes and our nearly 50 staff members and what we do on a daily basis. And we're so proud to tell you guys about their stories once a week. But today we're going to have a special guest. We're going to bring in the Vanguard Director of Athletics, Jeff Bussell. We're going to hear a little bit about his journey to Vanguard, a little bit of what he finds special about working here and directing the department here at Vanguard. And then we'll learn a little bit about his family and some of their favorite holiday traditions here during this December episode of the Vanguard Insider. All right, we'd like to welcome in Vanguard Director of Athletics, Jeff Bussell. into the studio today. So thanks for joining us before we head out for this holiday break. So a lot of people know our coaches' backgrounds and things like that. So with the Vanguard Insider, we're going to dive a little bit deeper into the staff members and kind of the behind the scenes that people might not see. So one of the first things we want to just learn from you is, how did you get into sports? When did you start playing basketball, and what else did you do as a kid when you first started being active?
Yeah, well, my whole life. I mean, my parents, from the time I can remember 5 or 6, put me into athletics, and really growing up, that's all there was pretty much athletics and schoolwork. And so I pretty much played all the sports: soccer, baseball, basketball, played some football. But really as we went into high school, focused on baseball and basketball. And then I played some football my freshman year, and then decided just to stick with baseball and basketball through my high school years. Obviously, I just love the game of basketball, so it moved faster than baseball. I was really good at both sports, but thought I could make a career out of it, basketball-wise. But ended up playing 1 year junior college basketball, and that was about it for me on the athletic side. And knew that I always wanted to get into athletics, get into coaching. Mm-hmm. And so when I was in junior in high school, I started coaching 5th and 6th grade boys with the rec team, elementary school rec league that we had in our town, Orangevale, California. Mm-hmm. And so that really, I had great coaches and really loved and was giving back to those kids. And so that's where my coaching kind of came into. And so from there, I said, I want to be a coach. And I knew I wanted to be a coach. And so after playing 1 year junior college basketball, I ended up going back to my old high school and getting into coaching and starting that coaching journey from there.
And then you were a coach for about 20 years, right?
20 years, yeah. I started when I was 19.
19?
And so, yeah, 1 year out and got back in coaching freshmen and JV basketball and helping out with varsity whenever I could. And while I attended Sac State at the same time, so it was kind of an interesting time. I worked at a fitness club at 5 a.m., and then I'd get done there about 11 o'clock, go to school at Sac State till about 3 o'clock, and then race up to the high school gym till about 3 to, sometimes 9 o'clock, 7 o'clock at night. That was kind of my college years.
It's not the usual college schedule for a lot of folks, but so it gives you a pretty interesting experience of what a student athlete goes through, just kind of the grind of the practices, whether it's 6 a.m., weights at night and things like that. So when you were serving as a coach, whether it was the junior high level, high school level, and then the collegiate level where you ended up, what is it about coaching that drew you into that as a profession?
I think just making an impact, and there's two things: making an impact in these kids' lives every day. Basketball, sport is used all around the world as something that can cross, many different lines. And so, number one, I love the sport of basketball, and number two, I was like, I just love coaching kids and seeing them get better, not only on the court but in life, and teaching character through those moments. And, it wasn't, I think in the beginning when I first started out, it was like I love basketball. But as I got into it and got to be a part of these players' lives, and then as I moved up into the college level, is really where I got a greater appreciation just for what college athletics is, and having the chance to invest in each one of the kids that I worked with. Because I tell people this is the most important time in a kid's life. They get out of high school, they get away from their parents, they're kind of on their own, and then they're trying to figure it out for 4 or 5 years until they go into the real world, right? Mm-hmm. And so this is a major training ground for us because, high school students, they're still under their parents' umbrella, still mom and dad still have say. But once they get to college, they kind of feel a little bit of freedom. Mm-hmm. And that's why I love this age group that we work with here at Vanguard and just in college athletics in general.
So as your family started to grow and things like that, you transitioned out of coaching more into the administrative side. What was your heart and your thinking behind, kind of that change at that time?
Yeah. Well, I got my first administrative experience when after I coached a couple of years of college basketball in Minnesota, then moved back to the Sacramento area. So I got a little Christian school there, Sierra Christian Academy. got a PE teaching job there and was going to coach basketball there. And the next day they called me up after, we agreed to that. They said, would you like to be the athletic director, basically for grades 4 through 12? And I said, yeah, I'd love to, and because, sports was just always a big part of my life. I love watching it on TV. I love going to games and all sports. It wasn't just, basketball. Basketball was something that I felt like I was good at and I could teach, but, I just had appreciation for all the sports and what they brought. And so, that was kind of my introduction to the admin side there. Spent 3 years there. Then kind of got out of the PE teaching thing and became a vice principal and AD and basketball coach, and then decided to jump over to William Jessup, where when I first started at William Jessup, I was there just working basketball, assistant basketball coach, and then a job opened up as a sports information director and game management director, and I jumped at the opportunity to be on campus full-time. And really that's kind of where the administrative bug started to come. At first it was kind of a 50-50 job, and then as it got going for about 5 years, I added athletics marketing coordinator to that, and the job seemed to go from 50-50 to about 80-20 admin compared to coaching basketball now. Now I was on campus, but there was just a lot more on your plate. As you know, being an SID and game management director, there's a lot of moving pieces in that. And so basically I just got to a time where, I feel like God was put on my heart to make a decision, to either stick with basketball or go to the administration side. And it was really down here at Newport Beach at the NEI convention. I think it was 2012 when they were here. The AD at William Jessup at that time, Farnham Smith, brought me down to the convention, and I sat in there with the ADs, and I felt like God put on this like, hey, move to the admin side, become AD, and chase that dream, and so I knew that's where it got started. It was right down here in Newport Beach, and so I went back to Jessup and kind of went into the last season of basketball, and knowing that was going to be my last season kind of coaching and get into the admin side. So gave up coaching and then went full-time sports information director, game management director, athletics marketing coordinator, and pretty much whatever else I could throw my hat into. I think I've worked every job, including janitor and sweeping the floor and all those kind of things. And so, I just kind of, trusted God in the process and didn't know that after leaving, coaching that, I'd have the opportunity to be a director of athletics 1 year later at the University of Antelope Valley. So just been awesome to see God work and just trust him in the process. It was tough when I had to make that decision. I argued with God, for a good couple months. Like, no, I've been coaching basketball for 20 years now, and this is, what my goal is. But I really leaned on the Lord and trusted him that he wanted me to head into the athletic administration side.
Absolutely. So you came to Vanguard a little over 4 years ago, right? Yes. Okay.
Well, this is my fourth year.
Fourth year. So a little.
However you want to quantify.
3.5 years. However we want to do that. So, when you were coming through here and you're getting your taste of Vanguard, what's special about Vanguard to you in your role?
Yeah, I think I've had the opportunity to be at 4 different college campuses, and coming to Vanguard, I knew in the interview process that each time I came down here, I just had this peace every time I stepped on campus. Even though going through an interview process is very anxiety driven and very nerve wracking, every time I stepped on campus and I met people and I met new people, you could just feel God's presence here, and it was really about the people. And so when I had the opportunity to make the decision to come here, I knew it was just a good fit. I think the thing that makes Vanguard special is the people, from our coaching staff to all the assistant coaches that put in hours to our staff here, athletic administrative staff, and not only them, but the people across campus. There's just a love for students here and a love to take care of them and help them reach their goals. I think it's just a place that everybody fully invests in the students. We have a Students of Concern committee here that really tries to help kids that are struggling. And everybody here, from staff, faculty, to coaches, everybody sold out to really help these kids reach their dreams and help them to see where God fits in their life and how everything can come together for them. So everybody's fully invested here, and they go above and beyond what they need to do on a daily basis. So I think that's what really makes Vanguard special. I know that's on a lot of campuses, but I think our students here feel it a lot. There's always said that there's a spirit on campus. Even students will say that too. We don't have all the nice buildings, if you've been to our gym before, the pit, you know what it's like. It's a hard work thing, but it's about the people. It's about the energy that we have here.
Absolutely. So, over the past 3.5 years, 4 years, we've added 5, 6 teams here. Our department's doubled in size, and also, administratively with our athletic training staff down in the training room there, and things like that. So, when you're mapping out your vision of what you want a student athlete to benefit from either being on campus 1 year or 5 years, depending on how their journey brings them to Vanguard, what is it like, kind of one of those 1 or 2 nuggets that you want these student athletes to leave with?
Yeah, I think first and foremost is where Jesus Christ fits in their life. And I think we have the staff and the coaches that pour into that each and every day, because, a lot of kids, everybody comes in at a different level. We have kids that have grown up in the church, and we have kids that, played athletics their whole life and their parents talked about God and those kind of things. And we have some new kids that come in and are trying to experience where God fits in their life. For us that are Christians and walk on a daily basis, we kind of know the benefits of Jesus being a part of our lives. And, life's up and downs, right? It's hills and valleys all the time. Torn Wells song, by the way. And so I think the most part is, that we want to invest in them spiritually. We want to, to understand that, life is hills and valleys, and you're going to go through these ups and downs. But, when you have Jesus in your life and he's able to guide you and lead you through those tough times, it makes life, a little bit easier. And so I think those are the biggest thing. And most of all, the most important thing any kid will do here is get their education, get their degree, and be ready to go and make a difference in the world. And so every day our staff here is impacting kids, so when we talk about what do we want the student athlete experience to be, we want them spiritually to be invested in, we want them to invest in their academics to get their degree, and then obviously we want them to have a great experience on the athletic field too. And we're blessed here with really, really amazing coaches that pour into these kids in all those areas, and then we see the results on the field, building culture up in each program and how they do that. And so, winnings have been, we love to win, but winning's a byproduct of all the other things we're doing, investing in them spiritually, in their character, and as well academically with them too. And I think those are the greatest things to see. We got amazing stories here of kids just walking that life.
Yeah, one of my favorite mottos I hear around here is, winning isn't everything, but if there's a scoreboard, we want to win, and then do everything right off the field in the classroom, things like that. So, this year the department's motto is Waterwalkers, that you rolled out for us in July. Kind of give us a little bit of background of how you came across that. What was tugging at your heart to make that the verse.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing was, I read a book, if you want to walk on water, you got to get out of the boat, by John Ortberg. And I've probably read that about 10 years ago. And, it was one of the things I felt like in my 3 years here that we'd been investing in kids. And I felt like it was the next step. We really needed to ask our kids to step out in their faith a little bit more and to share their faith and to walk a little bit more on the water. Take maybe some risk spiritually in their interactions with other student athletes, with people on their team, with people across campus, about where they are spiritually. And not to really sometimes we can become boat potatoes, as they call it in the book, and we just hide in our little boat. And I think for us to fully experience life, we've got to step out of the boat. We've got to be willing to take those risks, be willing to fail and fall. And so, that was one of the big things, was getting out in the water, and trusting Jesus in that process, and knowing that, hey, I'm going to sink right there, but Jesus is holding his hand out to raise me up back out of that water when I start to sink, or when I start to look to the left or right and start sinking, where he's at in that. And so I thought it was just a big metaphor for us to take that next step and to see our athletes take that next step, and really to challenge them in their walk with the Lord and where they're heading. And so, I think we've seen it throughout this year. I think we've seen it with our staff, and we've also seen it in our student athletes this year.
Absolutely. So, as it is December, and we're about to depart for the holidays, first give us a little background. Tell us about your family, what your girls like to do, and all the activities you're always shuttling them around to.
Yeah, we are a busy family. Blessed. Me and my wife, Nicole. Monday will be our 13th year anniversary. I believe it's 13. Yeah, 2006, 2009. No, 2019. Yeah, it's 13 years.
You want to get that number right.
Yeah, make sure I got that number right. We've had, blessed with two great kids, Grace, who's 11 in 6th grade, and then Samantha, who's in 3rd grade. She's 8. So right now they are into dancing, and they love to dance. I mean, we are at dance 5 days a week. They go 3 hours a day on some nights, and then Saturdays too. And now we've thrown in the basketball season, and I get the joy of coaching them through SoCal Elite in the basketball season this year. And Grace's team's off to a great start, 2-0. Sammy's team, we're 0-2, but I think it's kind of nice that I get to coach both teams so I can get a win and a loss, so I can kind of split on a weekend, hopefully. But it's been fun, that journey of just watching my family. I think when you work in athletics, it's a lifestyle, because we're here a lot. And they also get to come here and enjoy it. The girls love coming to the games and, making a wreck of our classroom here in the gym. And, so we've been really, really busy with that, trying to get the kids to here there. My wife's a school teacher at Ray Elementary here in town, and we're excited. The basketball teams will be going over there to do a reading program with them. I think it's January 7th. When we come back for the break. She teaches 3rd grade over there. She's one of the best teachers I know. I might be biased, but Teacher of the Year 2 years ago in the Newport Mesa School District, which is a great honor, and it's been fun to watch her. She loves the demographic of the kids here in Costa Mesa and make an impact in their life daily. She also works with the theater team, or basically, I forget, VAPA is what they call it, Visual and Performing Arts. And so she runs the play over there. So once we come back in January to school, she's busy, working with 60 kids to get ready for the play for this year. And so it'll be hectic, January and February, in March. But once the play's done, we're back into a normal routine. So
coincides with our crossover season too.
Yes.
So your family's got a little crossover season of its own. So. What would you say are your favorite holiday traditions that your family's developed over the last 13 years with you and Nicole, and then as Grace and Sam started entering the mix as well?
Yeah, I think one of the traditions I love doing is putting up the lights. I was 2 weeks late this year. Usually I do it Thanksgiving weekend. We get those up and put those there, but. And my wife's really good at getting. We'd like to do some experiences. Last year, we took them to Universal Studios. This year, we're going to Pantages and watching the Frozen play up there at the Pantages Theater on Tuesday to the day before. And I think the other thing we like to do is just go out and look at the lights and really experience what's going on. And we'll go down to the boat parade this weekend down in Newport Harbor, which is one of the benefits of living in this area. And most of all, I just love visiting family. We'll head back to Kansas on Christmas night and be there till January 1st. We love to be around family, just enjoying those moments, and just celebrating Jesus is a big part. I mean, Christmas Eve service is always a fun thing to go to. This time of year is just fun because you get a chance to reflect on all that's gone on through the whole year, where the ups and downs and adversities and the struggles and where God is in each one of those moments. So I always like this time of year.
Yes, exactly. So, for me personally, it's always the time of the year where you're reflecting on kind of your word or your theme for 2019, and then also, looking forward to, what you want to specifically, have God challenge you on and grow you on and stretch and mold you through those hills and valleys for the upcoming season and years. So we'd like to thank you so much for stopping by and visiting with us, and we just thank you for your leadership here at Vanguard and everything you're doing to pour in the lives of not only the student athletes here, but also the staff, the coaches, and especially our training staff. So thank you so much, Jeff.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me, and I'm blessed to work with an amazing staff like you and Mike and Kristen up here in the office, and as well as our coaches. That's what makes this department great is all the people that work here.
All right, so we thank you guys so much for tuning into this first episode of the Vanguard Insider. We will be back with you guys after the holiday break, and you will hear more from our stories of significance with our student athletes and our coaches' corners with some of our winter and spring coaches as we get back into the mix. So happy holidays to you and your family.